Some people are attracted to girls, others are attracted to boys. Some are even attracted to cars or balloons, but me, I'm into drones. No, I'm joking, obviously, don't clip that, please. But in today's video, we are talking about the DJI Air 4. And now you might be wondering, why specifically are we talking about the Air 4? Well, it's because, according to me, and according to a few points that I will be lifting in this video, it is actually the ultimate drone, and for most people, it is way better than the more premium options like the Mavic 4 Pro. So, let's get right into it. First off, we have to talk about the redundancy of features and the actual usage. So, when you look at the spec sheet of, for example, a Mavic 4 Pro, it's very easy to get flattered by the plethora of features. You read buzzwords like 6K, 360 gimbal. You read things like 4/3-inch sensor and you just get sold immediately. You fall in love with the numbers. But then, when you actually get the drone, you realize, I have no idea how to color grade, I don't know what Apple ProRes is, and ultimately you find that in 9 out of 10 cases, you just use the drone as a tripod in the sky. You don't understand dynamic range, and you can't really appreciate the features that DJI poured millions into developing. And so the drone isn't for you, because while it feels tempting to get something that is like production quality, it won't really be the right thing for you because you won't take advantage of those amazing features. And so when picking a drone or really any product, you have to ask yourself a few questions, and here are the questions that I asked myself when I was deciding what drone to upgrade to from the Mini. And first, let's just talk about why I chose the Mini to begin with. See, I had a really cheap plastic toy grade drone. I wasn't doing any productions, I used it every now and again just to fly like 5 meters in the air. Didn't know anything about drones. And so I found the Mini 3 Fly More combo at a reasonable price and I got it. And after a few flights, it was like something clicked for me. I realized that drones are my passion and I really enjoy flying. And so after that, I kind of broadened my knowledge. I learned about cameras. I learned about dynamic range, how to get good shots. I practiced my flying skills, and after doing that for about a year, I realized what pain points I have. What points about the drone really bothered me that I wanted to fix for the upgrade. And so here are the 3 main points of discomfort that I experienced with this drone. Let's get into them. The first discomfort has always been the range, and this was a problem from day one. A lot of people think, well, range shouldn't be a problem, the battery runs out before you can get to the maximum range, and that is absolutely true, but there is a very specific reason why you would like to increase that range, and that is being able to descend. So the Mini 3, it has OcuSync 2, and now we are at OcuSync 4 Plus, which it is very likely that the Air 4 will be getting OcuSync 4 Plus or OcuSync 5. And so let me explain, now that you know what we're working with, how it is so difficult to descend. Okay, so imagine you are 1 kilometer out, you're flying, and you want to record something close to the ground, right? And so now you have to either zoom in, which we will get to later, or you have to descend, but most of the time you have to do both, right? And so you try and descend and immediately the footage cuts. and the drone automatically returns to home. And this is because the signal has so much more trouble traveling through obstacles like trees, for example. And so increasing the range means being able to descend more further away. And that leads us to the next point, the telephoto camera. Because even if you can descend, you might not want to descend straight on people's heads. Like, imagine you are recording a football game. You might want to record each individual player, or at least be close to each individual player recording, but you can't just fly 5 meters over their head because that's just not gonna work. That's gonna distract them. And so therefore having a telephoto is great, because then you can zoom in and you can stay at 20 meters height, but you can still kind of highlight a specific player. But that's not the only reason I want a telephoto. The second reason I decided that I need a telephoto is because of the parallax effect. If you don't know what the parallax effect is, you probably should be considering a cheaper option, because maybe you don't need a telephoto. But what it is that the background and foreground appear closer when you're circling something with a longer focal length. And so like if you take the main 24mm lens and try and circle something, it's gonna look very far away, the background and the foreground, it's gonna look like you were there with your own eyes. And that's great, but sometimes you just want them to mix and blend together and get this really smooth, delicious parallax, and for that you do need a telephoto. So for those two reasons, I decided I wanted a telephoto. But now you might be thinking, why didn't you choose to upgrade to the Mavic then? You wanted a telephoto, the Mavic has a really great long-range telephoto. But here's the thing, the Mavic is around 3 times the price of the Air. And so yes, you will get a great telephoto, but you'll also get a plethora of redundant features that you don't need, such as the ones that I mentioned earlier. And you have to realize that you are paying for things that you won't use. And I feel like that would bring me a lot of anxiety. And then also there's the thing that you have to treat the thing like a baby, If you spent 30,000 on a drone, you're gonna take care of it like it's your own child. And so that's kind of the 2 points of reasoning that brought me to the Air 4. So the first jump was kind of getting into drones, seeing how they work, and now it's all about refinement. And so the third reason, I talked about the first reason being descending, the second being the telephoto. The third reason why I wanted the Air so much is because of weight and professionality. So the Mini 3 is 250 grams. The Air is 700 grams. That's 3 times as heavy, which means it will be able to withstand winds a lot better, which is a huge pro. And it will also feel sturdier, it can go faster, it can actually reach the speed limit of which DJI has to limit it because it can't go faster. So it has a lot of pros over the Mini 3. And so with those 3 reasons in mind, and the reasons for why I wouldn't want to get a more expensive drone, let's get into what the Air 4 can offer versus my Mini 3. Oh yeah, one more thing. Before we get into the specs of the Air 4, let me just show you the commercial for the Air 3S. It's not really a good depiction of the drone that I'm about to buy, but because DJI just makes such good cinematic commercials, I thought I'd just show it, okay? So sit back, relax, enjoy, let's watch the commercial together, and then let's talk about the specs. Wow, that was truly Hollywood class, but after watching that, maybe you got an idea about the design, what we're looking at here, but now I want to get into more the facts and look past the marketing. But that video was truly amazing though. So, these specs will be based on the R3S, which is the predecessor to the R4 because it isn't released yet, but I'm gonna buy it short after release. So let's get into them. First, ascend and descend speeds. The Mini 3 can ascend at 5 meters per second, and for one that doesn't know meters per second, that's around 18 kilometers per hour. And it can descend at 3.5 meters per second, which is around 10 kilometers per hour. It can go in all four directions, forward, backwards, left, right, at 57.6 kilometers per hour or 16 meters per second. The R3S or R4, depending, it might increase in speed with the R4, but these are the speeds for the R3S, and you can see them as preliminarily correct. Ascend 10 meters per second, 38 kilometers per hour, and descend 10 meters per second, 38 kilometers per hour. And notice that the Mini 3 descended slower than it could ascend, but the R3S or R4 will be able to descend and ascend at the same speed. And in all directions it can do 21 meters per second or 27 meters per second with powerful headwind, but in the EU it is locked to a maximum of 68.4 kilometers per hour or 19 meters per second, which is still 10 kilometers per hour faster than the Mini 3. But that's not really important. Sure, it's really cool and it's gonna be really useful, but the main thing, it is the camera. So the Mini 3, it has one lens, and this one lens is a little mid, to be honest. It's a 1/1.3 inch CMOS with 12 megapixel standard, 48 megapixel high res. It has a focal length of 24 millimeters and it has a 1.7 aperture, f1.7. It can shoot video in 8-bit 4K 30. The DJI R3S has a 1-inch CMOS 50 megapixel binned to 12 for normal photos, 24 megapixel f1.8 aperture, but that's not the only camera. The telephoto camera is a 1/1.3 inch CMOS 48 megapixel 70mm focal length 3x optical zoom 2.8 f aperture telephoto camera. And this is really interesting because the R4 is rumored to maybe feature a dual inch setup, like a dual 1-inch setup, but this is not confirmed, although this is highly speculated, which would make the R4 even better and even more worth it as an upgrade. But still, even if we assume nothing changes here, we're gonna upgrade our main lens from 1/1.3 inches to 1 inch, and the telephoto camera doesn't exist on the Mini 3, so that's a brand new thing, and it will possibly be 1 inch, which would be amazing, but 1/1.3 inches is also fine. Now, the R3S and possibly the R4 will shoot in 4K 60 HDR, that being high dynamic range, or 120 FPS in 10 bits D-Log manual. And if you're not a tech nerd, this basically means that you will have a longer, higher dynamic range, you will have better colors, and you will have slow motion. And as I said, it is rumored to be dual 1 inch, and that would be amazing. Now let's get over to the features. The DJI Mini 3 is rocking one of the automatic features, and that is quick shots. It has drone, rocket, circle, helix, and boomerang. But it does not have active track or focus track. And this is really annoying because I would really like to use these features, especially late at night when it's kind of like sunset and a little darker, and take advantage of that high dynamic range. Now, the Air 3S and Air 4. Hang on, this is a handful. It has quick shots, drone, rocket, circle, helix, boomerang, and asteroid. Asteroid only working at the 24mm lens, but still that's a new quick shot. It has active track 360 and focus track. So instead of only flying behind you, it has a complete system with three main modes: active track, auto, and manual, which is a mode where the drone makes a 3D route around you, which avoids obstacles and keep focus, and it can track you even if you're like driving behind trees or bushes or bridges without losing you. The manual mode allows you to steer exactly from which angle it will follow you. The spotlight mode allows you to fly it manually or hover it, but the camera is locked on the motive you're trying to record, and the camera gimbal moves automatically to keep the person or the vehicle centered. And then we have point of interest. You mark a motive, set height, set speed, and the drone circulates perfectly and automatically around the motive. Kind of like a quick shot, but it can be used for tracking, mapping, etc. Then we actually have a new feature. This sounds kind of useless, but it's subject focusing, which keeps the focus on moving objects under manual flying. So basically manual focus. And it has some other features like free panorama, waypoint flight, cruise control, master shots, and hyperlapse. So those were the new features, and I have put them on the screen right here so you can look at them if you're curious, if you want to read them through one more time, and comment down below what do you think. Do you think it's worth buying the Air 4? I'm hoping that I can buy the Fly More kit without the screen and the controller, because that's a lot cheaper and I like to use my phone anyway. And after that, I'll be getting some epic shots. I'm most excited about being able to have active track. Like if my Mini 3 had active track, I would seriously consider not upgrading, but I still would really like to use a telephoto too, so you know, that's one thing. Because that will allow me to, with the higher speed, be able to, for example, track myself while driving, you know. The drone just flies after me and it can keep up even on the highway. That's fantastic. Really excited about that. And drop a comment down below what you think. And as always, like and subscribe to the channel. But before we finish, I have one more important thing to talk about, and that is portability. This is something that you will have to remember if you're buying the Air 4, and it is very important because it might just get you in trouble. So the Air 4 is heavier at 700 grams, which means you will be needing A1, A3 license, and you will also be needing a bigger backpack to carry it around. But if you can get that handled, I think the Air 4 or Air 3S as of right now is the ultimate drone for someone who is serious about drones but don't want to spend a fortune. That's enough for today's video. Remember, like and subscribe. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Thank you.